You are now listening to the Going North podcast with your host, author and speaker, Dom Riklan. And every Monday and Thursday, you're going to hear the voice of a different author share their stories, expertise, and their struggles that they had to overcome in life to leave you inspired to get more out of your life. Be sure to not only listen to this episode, but share with others, connect with the authors, and always advance others to advance yourself. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, we bring you some awesome humans from all over the globe doing some wonderful things. We have a living internet legend here because since the year of 1995, my man's been dominating the internet, baby. That's right, for over 2+ decades. Not only reading a bunch of books, but also writing his own and coaching others and speaking. And you're probably wondering who I got today. It's the one and only founder of the website that's been impacting the lives of over 1 million people each month on selfgrowth.com. Mr. DR himself, David Riklan. How are you today, sir?
I am excellent, Tom. Pleasure to be here.
Oh, yeah, pleasure to have you on the show. Funny enough, I was reading a book the other day, Internet Profits, and I got to the chapter where you were in. I'm like, oh, okay, this is awesome. Get to interview him this coming Monday. This is awesome. It's like serendipity doing its magic work again.
I like it.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, as with all wonderful stories, they all have humble beginnings. So mind filling in some gaps where I missed some things in the introduction and how you got to where you currently are today?
Sure, I will jump right in for you, Dom. My story is probably not that different than most people's in terms of the beginning. I was working for corporate America, big company, Hewlett-Packard at the time, and I was selling computers for them. So I was in sales. And one of the things that HP believed in was the importance of continuing your education and developing your skills and really being a better person and being a more effective employee. And as part of this, they sent me to a Dale Carnegie course called Effective Speaking and Human Relations. And I remember taking this course. I fell in love with this course. And not so much the course as the concept that even after our formal education, whether it's high school or college or whatever we have, we can continue to learn, to educate ourselves, and to grow. And I remember specifically there was someone in the program, in the class, who was taking this course. And at the beginning of it, this is a shy woman sitting in the corner, very, very quiet, to herself, wasn't talking, wasn't involved. At the end of the program, the same woman was running for city council in New York City.
Wow.
And I was just amazed at this transformation. And I said, I have to be involved in this kind of transformation one way, somehow. I have to do this. And I also know I wanted to have my own business. Somewhere along the way I was going to have my own business. And fast forward to the mid-1990s, the Internet was just starting to get underway. A lot of people had America Online accounts. I don't know, Dom, did you have an AOL account?
My brother did.
All right, that goes way back. You know, people were starting out on America Online, and I was there, and it was clear the Internet was going to be everywhere. It was going to be ubiquitous. So I decided back then I wanted to have my own Internet business. I was still in corporate America, and I bought this domain name, selfgrowth.com. It was a combination like self-improvement and personal growth, self-growth. And we started posting information for people, and we were posting links to good resources and then articles and information about experts, and it continued to grow and to grow. And eventually it went from a hobby in 1995 when I got it to a part-time business, and I ended up going full-time with it in 2003, so that's 16 years ago already, and haven't looked back. Still doing this, still impacting lives, and still having fun. It's been my mission for years. And that's my back-end story of how I got into this.
And that is awesome indeed, and it's great that you were so inspired that you actually went out there and actually decided to compile a lot of things into things you call power summaries of just summarizing some of the best-selling personal development and success skills books. It's just an amazing thing.
So what's interesting with power summaries is one of the things I was struggling with relative to selfgrowth.com was there's so much information. And anybody who's looking to survey, it's almost like a Wikipedia for self-improvement. We have 400,000 articles on self-improvement, personal growth, stress management, goal setting. So if you're looking to peruse and looking for really a large library, selfgrowth.com is a great place to start. But I was struggling with a few questions. I was trying to figure out, out of all these areas and all these books, what are the core and most important principles? What are the things we need to know? And what I decided to do is my team and I identified the top-selling 365, or the top impacting 365 self-help or self-improvement personal development books. And we wanted to make those accessible, so what we had done for folks is we had written summaries on each one of these books. And that's where Power Summaries comes in. And in essence, it's a service where we provide book summaries for 365 of the top best-selling, most influential advice books ever written. And that's a piece of what we do, with the goal being very simple. We wanted people to be able to access this information easily and quickly.
Oh, yeah. And a great service indeed. And what makes it even better is that you're able to drill it down even more to a thing you call the 10 Commandments of Self-Improvement. Am I going deeper into the 2 stone tablets of self-improvement?
I'd love to. So one of the challenges I mentioned earlier is all this information and all these experts, whether it's a Dr. Phil, with the Dr. Phil Show, or Tony Robbins, or Stephen Covey with the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. There were so many books and so many products and so much information to improve your life. We're trying to figure out, is there any pattern that's associated with this? Is there any system? Are there things that are consistent from expert to expert to expert? And we started analyzing all these books. We started analyzing all these articles. And what we ended up finding is there were certain phrases and certain ideas that permeated a lot of these different books and a lot of these different experts. So we decided to identify the top 10 of these ideas. What are the top most important areas or facets of things that you need to do in the world of self-improvement? And what I'd like to do is share this with your audience today and share it with you, Dom. And one of the things as I go through these you're going to notice is that a lot of these things are obvious. We've been taught some of these things by the time we were 5 or 6 years old or even earlier. So what I'd like to do is take a couple of minutes and just go through 1 through 10 and give everybody, and I recommend if you're listening to this, get a piece of paper and pencil, just write them down. So the 2 things I want to do is first just go through them. And then the question is, if we all know these, why aren't people doing them? And we can step through that and delve a little bit deeper into it. So you ready to take a deep breath and go through the top 10 laws of self-improvement, or the top 10 commandments?
Woohoo! Bring it on!
All right. And as we go through these, Dom, let me see. I'm sure you're familiar with every single one of them. You've interviewed a lot of people. You've been focusing this for a long time. So let's go through these first, and then we can look at the challenge of, if we all know these, what's really stopping us from being successful. So the first one at a starting point is take responsibility. So I almost look at that as commandment number 1. We need to take responsibility. Number 2 is we need to take action. That's number 2. Taking responsibility by itself without action isn't really going to do much. And number 3, and this is a very important one, is have strong desires. We really need to deep down understand why we want something. A lot of folks look at life and they figure out, all right, what do we want to get? They kind of look around. They say, what do we want? What do we want to achieve? And then they ask themselves the question, all right, we know what we want. How do we get it? But an equally important question is why. And the why ties into the strong desire. So we have take responsibility, take action, and then have strong desires. And the next 2 on a much more practical level, number 4 is set goals. And we could talk about what's called SMART goals in a little bit, but you need to have specific, measurable, you need to have goals. And having goals by themselves without developing a plan, without having a plan in place, isn't going to be that attractive or that effective. So in addition to setting goals, you need to develop a plan. So we can quickly go through these. So let's take a quick look. Take responsibility, take action, have strong desires, set goals, and develop a plan. And let me put this back to you, Dom. Are these things you're familiar with? Are these things that a lot of people have you heard of these before?
Oh, yeah, I heard of all 5 of them.
So the reason you have is they're what I describe as ubiquitous. Everybody knows these. And we'll step through the next 5, and then we'll take a couple minutes trying to figure out, all right, if we all know these, why aren't we all, Jeff Bezos at Amazon.com? All right, so number 6 is pay the price. And by pay the price, it means answering the question, what are you willing to do to get what you want to get? So what price are you willing to pay? Number 7 is be persistent. We've all heard about the importance of persistence. Number 8 is learn from your mistakes. We're going to make mistakes along the way. Every single one of us makes mistakes, so you want to learn from your mistakes. Number 9 is have a very strong belief. So you really need to deep down in your heart, in your soul, understand and believe that you can do this, that you can achieve this. And finally, number 10, also an important one, is to visualize your success. So the clearer the picture that you have of what you want to achieve, the more likely you're going to be successful in whatever area of life, whatever endeavor you want to pursue. So you want to take a quick go through? We'll go through the 10 very quickly, and then we can delve down a little bit deeper.
Sweet.
All right, let's go. So if you don't have these written down yet, number 1, take responsibility. Number 2, take action. Number 3, have strong desires. Number 4, set goals. Number 5, develop a plan. Number 6, pay the price. 7, be persistent. 8, learn from your mistakes. 9, have a strong belief. And 10, finally, visualize your success. And these are really the 10 clear and very focused laws or commandments of self-improvement that we see virtually all of the big experts talking about. And if you take a look at the people who are successful in this world today, you can see very clearly that they're all doing this. They're kind of stepping up with this. Now, any initial thoughts, Dom? Now you're hearing these 10 commandments or 10 laws. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was kind of interesting that the 10th one was visualize your success. Any reason why that was the final one out of the 10?
So, not necessarily. I know why take responsibility. We may take responsibility the first one because we feel that's a starting point. And you really need to take responsibility. But relative to the 10, visualizing your success is a critical one. And you can put it closer to the top, but we wanted to put it in there. So they aren't necessarily in specific order where you do this first. We know that taking responsibility and taking action for everything. If you're not willing to take responsibility and make a decision, and you're not willing to take action, nothing's done. But the rest of the 8 kind of fall in place in whatever order you want to put them.
Yeah, makes sense indeed, especially with the first 2, because if you put take action first, I mean, it's like, all right, take action on what? It's like you got to be responsible for something first.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like take action. Like, all right, I changed the channel. All right, I have success. Like, no.
Yes, I'm done. I could take the rest of the day off. I put on NBC and I switch from HBO. We're all good to go.
Yes, indeed. And I guess the reason why a lot of people, it reminds me of that classic Jim Rohn quote, goes like, things that are easy to do are easy not to do as well. So it's, I guess the fact that folks may be familiar with it, but it's like there may be something deeper holding them back. And I guess that's kind of where the whole having strong desires comes from, at least knowing that why in a way kind of helps you fulfill the other 7 in a way.
Yeah, so let's back up a little bit. So we all know these. Growing up, when you're a little kid, your parents tell you make your bed or be responsible and do something. These are things that we've learned from when we were very, very young. There's a book on everything I needed to know I learned in kindergarten, and it covers some of these already, things we learned in kindergarten. So the question is, since we know all these things, since most of us are familiar with the importance of learning from your mistakes and being persistent and having a plan and all these things, the big question stands out, so why aren't we? And once you understand why aren't we, the next natural question is, all right, now we know why we're not doing it. What can we do to overcome these? And what I'd like to do is just take a couple of minutes and delve in to a couple of questions, a couple of those questions, and really get an understanding of some of the reasons we're not doing it. And then based on that, figure out a couple of strategies for people to implement to start moving ahead with this. Sound like a good game plan?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So some of these, it's interesting for me. So I look at a lot of these, and I look at particular experiences that I've had in my life, and I also look at experiences other folks have had in their lives, in terms of successful people have had in their lives, in terms of understanding these. So the first question is, all right, there's all these issues. We know what we need to do. We all have desires. We all have things we want. What's really stopping us? What's holding us back? And what I recommend people do as a starting point is really gain an understanding of themselves. And this is important, the self-knowledge. So we need to understand what's stopping us. And I want to throw a few ideas out there of what's typically stopping people. And many of these things have stopped me in the past. So one is fear. There's a fear of the unknown. There's a fear of failure. There's a fear of success. There's many, many fears that we all have. And fear can definitely hold us back. And in some cases, fear is there for a reason. Fear is there to protect us. It's to protect us from making a very big mistake that leads us into bankruptcy or failed marriage. So fear has its place, but it could also stop us. Another one is just bad habits. We develop bad habits, and it's very easy to do. Sometimes you can develop the habit of just sitting, and you come home, you have an opportunity to kind of build. Let's say you have a full-time job, but you want to change careers. So when you come home, you have a couple of options. One is focus on this new career and all these things you want to do. Or you can be in the habit of, I walk home, I turn on the television, and I see what's recorded, I see what's DVR'd, or I turn on the news, or I'm watching ESPN or something along those lines. And it's a habit. You're home, you're doing it, that's your focus. So you need to understand, is it fear? Is it a bad habit? Another one that's a big challenge that holds us back is complacency. And for many, many people, I think this is one of the biggest ones. And there was a book that was written a number of years ago about corporate America called Good to Great by Jim Collins. Do you ever have a chance to read that book, Dom?
Oh, yeah, great book.
All right. So for me, I'm going to sum up this book for you in just one sentence, Good to Great. And the concept of what I get out of it is that good is the enemy of great. And what I mean by that is things that these companies and for us individually get, they're good enough. I have some friends, I go out on the weekends, I have a drink, I'm going to the movies. Things are good enough. And you get complacent with the good enough. And good actually becomes the enemy of great. And when you accept the fact that, life's good enough, it's acceptable, my relationships are acceptable, my level of financial success is acceptable, it's good enough, good becomes the enemy of great. And we'll talk about ways to overcome some of these in a little bit. Another one, a very simple one, which is low energy. We're busy, we got a lot still going on. There's just a lot of low energy that people have. And some of it's tied to things like diet or sleep or a whole bunch of issues. And a big one I find for most people, including myself, is distractions. And right now, we live in the land of distractions. And what are those distractions? The biggest ones probably are cell phones. Are you a big cell phone user? You do a lot of mobile, you're on your phone a lot, or you find a lot of people are on the phone a lot?
Oh, yeah, it's a zombie apocalypse.
That's a good term to use to describe it. And what happens is, it's too easy to be distracted. especially you have your phone. Say you got your phone, you got your text coming in. First you have people calling you, then you have text messages, then people are posting. I don't care if they're posting on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter. I don't care what your poison is. There's all these interrupts going on all the time. So you're sitting there trying to focus on making your life better, but you're getting these interrupts, these constant distractions all the time. And it just makes it hard to focus. And then it comes back to, well, things are good enough. I'm checking my phone. I'm checking the news. My friends are checking on me. I'm texting back. They're sending me jokes. I'm checking things that are going on. People are, I just took a picture of my dinner, and a bunch of my friends like what I had to eat. And, it's all fun. It's all good. And it's all good enough. So these are the things that are really stopping us from implementing all 10 of these. And how many of these have you seen? So I talked about some of these challenges that are stopping us. How many of these have you seen stopping people, or perhaps stopping yourself from achieving what you want to do?
I'm guessing being persistent is probably one thing I've noticed so far, and from all 10 of these, the persistence thing. That's probably one of the big ones, because it's like, it's like you get started on a good footing, and then you don't keep persistent at what you're doing. It's kind of like with a podcast in a way. It's like, remember one person I'm helping start a podcast last summer, and she got around a good 3 or 4 episodes in, but then life happened, and then she just lost her footing, and then never really got back on track. So that's probably one of the things, because it's like life happens and distractions happen, and we're in the land of distractions. So, yeah, you're definitely right about that.
So these things are happening to all of us. We're living in the world, as you call it, the zombie apocalypse that's going on right now. And the question is, so what do we do about this? So if we want to change our lives, if we want to do more things, what do we do? And what I'd like to suggest a couple of things. One is I want to share with you what some of the experts are recommending to do, some specific strategies people are looking to do. And then I'd like to offer everybody who's listening today an opportunity to learn more from all these experts. We talked earlier about power summaries. Is it all right if I share a special opportunity with your folks today?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, so I'm going to step into a couple right now. I'm going to give you a couple of strategies that come from all these best-selling authors, all the top experts over here. But before I do that, what I'd like to do is let everybody know I'm going to be offering all of Dom's audience an opportunity to get access to our power summaries. So there's 365 power summaries. And I'm going to give everybody an opportunity to get access to this at a substantial discount. So in order to do that, I'm going to ask everybody to write down a special code. And if you use this code, you're going to be able to get a substantial discount on our Power Summaries product. So it's powersummaries.com is the product. And when you go there, you'll see a list of all the books, and we have bonus interviews and a whole bunch of things, really to help you figure out how do we implement these 10 laws and what's really stopping us. And when you hit add to cart to get the program, it's going to ask you for a coupon code. So I'm going to give all your listeners a special coupon code, and you just type in the coupon code, and it's going to give you a substantial discount on our Power Summaries. So the coupon code, we're going to make it easy, Dom, for you. It's DOM. It's DOM. So everybody, if you're interested in seeing these Power Summaries and getting access to it, you just go to, very simply, powersummaries.com, and when you check out the shopping cart, you put in the coupon code DOM, D-O-M. All right. So let's jump right in to some strategies that people are using. And Dom, I'd like to get feedback from you if these are areas and things that you found or you're doing. All right, so I'll jump into a couple of them. So the first one that I'm a very strong believer in is the concept of modeling. And modeling is a very simple concept. It's finding someone who's already succeeded doing what you want to do and copying or modeling how they succeeded. So, for example, if you're looking to start your own internet business, you want to find someone who has a successful internet business. If you want to start a podcast, find someone who's successful at that. If you want to open a restaurant, you want to find someone who has recently opened a restaurant similar to what you're looking to do, and you want to find out exactly what they did, how they did it, and they model it. And an extension of modeling is what I describe as finding a mentor. So a mentor is really someone who's already succeeded, someone who you can model and who's agreed to work with you. So whatever it is that you want to do in your life, find someone to model, and ideally find a mentor to help kind of step you through the pitfalls and the challenges of it. And that's a good start for virtually everything that you do. And I don't know, Dom, have you had a specific mentor, someone that you've looked to, or people that you model to do? You've been doing this podcast for a long time, so have you had folks that you've been working with or you've been following?
Oh yeah, definitely. John Lee Dumas in his ebook kind of got me started on. It got me more clear on what a podcast should be about and what I could do with it. And of course, I had mentors in public speaking too. So it's definitely mentors in my life that I like to emulate. The great.
All right, perfect way to go. So let's take a look at some of the challenges we talked about. So we talked about bad habits, and we talked about fear, and we talked about complacency. We had all these issues. And one of the challenges that people have is a simple one. They'll start, and let's look at weight loss for a minute. So they'll come in and they say, I want to lose 50 pounds. So this is this big goal, big audacious goal. They want to lose 50 pounds. And 50 pounds is a lot of weight. I don't care who you are. And the challenge for a lot of people is they start, and you can't lose 50 pounds in a week. It's impossible. You can't lose 50 pounds in a month. So what happens for a lot of folks is they set this very big goal, and they get discouraged. And they have this in their head. They go for a little while, or you mentioned someone who wanted to start a podcast. They go for 3 or 4. They might have had some big vision of where they were going to get. And what a lot of people recommend, works for me as well, is you might want to think big. It's okay to think big, but you also want to set up small goals, micro goals, incremental goals. You want to call them micro projects, incremental projects, whatever you want. And the concept's very simple. If you have this big goal, break it up to very small units. And it could even be daily units. What do you want to accomplish today, or what do you want to accomplish this week? And when you're accomplishing each one of those, I want you to reward yourself somehow. Give yourself some sort of reward. So you've accomplished something. What's the reward that you're going to get? Because these little rewards and these little benefits are going to keep you going. So the fact that you have much smaller goals makes them much easier to achieve. So you have a small goal, easier to achieve, and the rewards keep you going. And that's a big concept. So think big, start small. All right, a few other things that I found that have helped people is finding someone to partner with. Find a buddy. A lot of people have different terms to it, but you need to find someone in your life that will hold you accountable for what you're committing to do. And it could call an accountability partner. So think about it in terms of your life. Who do you know that you can bring into your inner circle? And it could be a group, it could be an individual, but you want to have someone in your life to hold you accountable. It's very, very easy for someone to sit down, and we can do this after the call. You can sit down and you have these 10 commandments, and you're picking something that you want to get done. You write down a few of the goals, and then you think about them for a while. You put the piece of paper in your drawer, and you forget about it. Once you've made this goal or specific target public, and whether it's an area you want to take responsibility or a goal public, and the public could just be in front of one person. It could be in front of a group, a support group that you have. Once you make it public, you have other people that are going to hold you accountable. And this is really, really important. And I'm going to give one other idea, and then we can kind of go back to the power summaries for a minute. Another challenge for a lot of people, myself included, is learning from your mistakes. I know we've all made mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're probably not trying hard enough. And one of the challenges of making a mistake is it could beat you down. You've made a big error. It hurts a lot. It can make you a little gun shy from making another mistake. You're like, I tried this. I got hurt from it. It didn't work. One of the things I recommend is once you've made this mistake, and I'm going to share one that I've made, you want to really take a deep, dark look at what happened, what you can learn from it, and what you're going to do differently. So I'm going to share a story from my past. It was one of my very, very painful mistakes, and it was a mistake about screwing up the use of technology. And I don't know, Dom, do you know anybody who's ever run for public office in any way, with a local city council or anything?
Quite a few, actually.
All right. It's pretty common. There's a lot of local communities you run. So I'm, like many other people, wanted to run for public office. I was living in a town called Hoboken, New Jersey, just outside Manhattan. And I had a full-time tech job, and I was working during the day. And it's known as a bedroom community, meaning most of the people live in apartments and most of the people work during the day and aren't home. So I needed to figure out how to get out to this organization. How am I going to get out to as many people as possible? So I decided to use technology, and I bought computer systems and software that would enable me to record a phone call and then call everybody who lived in Hoboken, New Jersey, and introduce myself. So I came up with this nice recorded message. My name is David Riklan, and I'm running for city council. These are some of the things I want to do. And in the morning, I left for work. I pressed the button, started going, and it started making the calls. And later that day, I came home 8-9 hours later, and apparently the technology messed up. And the phone calls started going slower and slower. So I started leaving messages. The computer's leaving messages for people. It sounded a little bit like this. It said, "My name is David Riklan." And I have to tell you, the end of the day, I started getting callbacks. And I started getting some of the angriest messages that you can imagine. Who are you? Are you mocking me? Are you mocking people who are handicapped? With disabilities, what are you doing? This is horrible. You're such a horrible person. And I got so much blowback from this.
I can imagine.
I got so much blowback. It was a gut punch for me. It was a gut punch. On the good side, since the message slowed down, it didn't make as many calls because it took much longer. But the blowback was a big gut punch. And after that, I decided, all right, what am I going to learn from this? It was a gut punch. It was hard. What was I going to learn from this in terms of my life? And the lesson was very simple for me. Triple check any technology that you're using, and make sure these things are working well, working effectively. Test them over time, retest them, and make sure they work. But I can still hear the voice ringing in my head of me leaving those messages for people. So as you can see, there's a lot of different strategies, and a lot of different strategies to succeed, a lot of reasons we're not, and a lot of ways to overcome some of these challenges. And what I really recommend folks doing is finding the right information, the right ideas, the right expert, the right program that will work for you, that will help you improve your life. There's no panacea. There's no cure-all. There's no button that you can press that's going to fix everything. And I recommend becoming a lifelong learner and finding the pieces of the puzzle that work best for you. And one of the great ways to do that is really read and learn from the experts. And our power summaries is a great way to do that. And Dom, if it's okay with you, can I share the information one more time for power summaries?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, so it's powersummaries.com. It's one word, powersummaries.com. You can always just search for Power Summaries. And you'll see there's a substantial discount for all Dom's listeners. And the way to get that is just go to checkout, click Add to Cart button, and it's going to ask you for a coupon code. And just type in Dom, our host, DOM, and click Apply, and you get full access to all of our Power Summaries. And that's really the crux. Any questions or anything from me, Dom?
Oh, yeah, the classic question every guest gets like a gift. So if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but this time in 2019 with all of your amassed knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
The advice that I would give to myself right now is a very simple one. Do not get caught up with the distractions. It's been probably one of my biggest challenges. There's a lot of shiny toys out there. There's a lot of these shiny new objects out there. And every day I see a shiny new object. And someone throws, here's a shiny new object. Try this. It's the best thing in the world. Here's a shiny new object. I tell myself to stay focused on the mission, use some core tools that are out there. Find the core tools that are working for you, and stay focused on your mission. That's the advice, and that's what I would do differently.
Woohoo! Fabulous. Well, there you have it, folks. Go on out there to the wonderfulpowersummers.com. Type in DOM as the coupon code. Get yourself a super special, awesome discount on those power summaries and advance yourself at an even more rapid rate than usual, all because you decided to invest in yourself. And at a discount, no less even, which is fabulous indeed.
Sounds
so
good.
Any sprinkles you want to put on the cupcake, David?
Yeah, I'll give people, I know I threw a lot of stuff out there today. Countless, on top of the 10 Commandments, make sure you review these and make sure you know those. So the recommendation I would have for people is pick one thing that you're going to do either immediately after this call, one thing you're going to do. And that one thing might just be writing down the ideas, and just pick one area that you're going to make a change in. Don't try to do everything at once. Pick one single thing that you're going to do in the next day, in the next week, in the next month, and run with that. And if you can get that just one thing going, as far as I'm concerned, I've made an impact, and I'm helping people improve their lives. And that's my goal, and that's really what I'm about, helping people improve their lives. So, Dom, I want to thank you for having me here today, and I wish everybody great success in everything they do.
Thanks a bunch for your listening ears on the Going North podcast. I hope you really, really enjoyed that episode. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to share it with your friends and family, especially those who love podcasts and love listening to some inspiration and motivation. And keep a lookout for the sequel to Going North, Tips and Techniques to Advance Yourself in October 2018. If you'd like to connect with me directly, feel free to shoot me an email at dombraidman@gmail.com. Make the rest of your week the best of your week.